Gonna put me in dialysis, girl. 924, Sergeant Paul Tapao. A serious note, though, Sergeant, there was a serious crash here that we found out earlier, about an hour ago on the show, and that has led to a road closure. Good morning.
Yes. Hey, Hafide, good morning. Chris, Jason, Joser. Thank you for that. Thank you for the beautiful sounds of the South. Sergeant Mike, your daughter has a beautiful voice. So
Right. Yeah.
that's his daughter, right?
Yes, it is. In fact, I was talking the other day. I ran into him when I went down to Umatic on Easter Sunday
Yeah.
to respond to the former mayor, that whole tragic incident. I ran into him and we kind of talked because he would be, even his other kid, Daryl, also was making music. And that's kind of how I met Sergeant Mike. So we were able to
Yeah.
catch up. I mean, it's just the strangest thing to meet up at that scene, but then still be able to say, hey, how you been? And anyway.
Yeah. So, anyways, just to catch up to
Yeah.
that, we are closing the roads. Our traffic investigators are on scene to a single auto off-roadway crash that occurred on West Santa Monica by North Chala and Henry Kaiser. So this is the road right after the Farmers Co-op. Our crash investigators are currently mapping out and of course gathering evidence. The lone occupant within that vehicle was transported as reported by GFD to Guam Regional Medical City with CPR being performed while en route to the hospital. Again, we're asking motorists who are going to be traveling in that area to please seek alternative routes because you're going to be stopped. You're not going to be permitted to pass through that area. As soon as we get the clearance and the lifting off the road closure and the completion of this portion of the investigation, we'll go ahead and inform the greater community of the opening of the roads and provide more information as a result in reference to the crash. But for now, the roads are closed. Please seek alternative routes, and we'll provide more to the great media, to the radio, and of course to the media outlets out there.
Right, Sarge. So we got the bulletin that it was a single auto off roadway crash. I know it was serious injuries, but are you able to provide any other detail? Was it an auto pole collision or?
We're still in the preliminary state. We
Okay.
do know that the vehicle is at rest right by the dirt road access. I think there was contact to the guardrail. We don't know the condition as to what had caused the vehicle to lose control. We don't know whether speed, the weather, or inattentive driving. So we're going to find out more as the investigation moves forward.
Right. Um, what else you got going on in the department?
Oh, so,
Yes,
man,
I'm
we've
sorry,
been,
Sarge. A little brain fart there. You guys met with the Yigo Neighborhood Watch
yes.
program.
Yes.
Let's talk
Yeah,
about
thank
that.
you for that.
Yeah.
So a few weeks ago, we did have a sort of say the reintroductory back into the whole gamut of the neighborhood watch program. Due to COVID, the year 2020 really put a hiatus or put a stop into what we were doing with face-to-face and of course meeting with the greater communities with, of course, neighborhood watch programs. So at our command meeting that we held at the village of Sinahanya, the capital of Guam, by the way, kidding. I did meet with the mayor of Yigo, Mayor Tony Sanchez,
Yeah.
who showed interest in formulating or revitalizing the neighborhood watch program within his property, and of course to meet with the community members. We set a date for last night, and we were happy to report, thanks to the efforts of Mayor Tony Sanchez and the Vice Mayor Leones, we were able to get a great crowd that was gathered to hear about how we can actually formulate a vibrant neighborhood watch program. So we had representatives from the different proper of Yigo, and we knew going in as we started this neighborhood watch program initiative, we knew that some of the villages, such as Yigo, such as Paragata, or such as Mingilao, are going to cause a challenge for forming a program just due to the size, the geographic features of Yigo. It stretches, so being able to touch this. So Mayor had brought up a great idea by inviting the municipal planning council members of the respective village of Jonia, I stand correct, Yigo, that were present, and they were able to voice concerns with different issues that pertaining to crime within their respective neighborhoods. So we were able to hear some of the concerns from the community members, the constituents that had issues with speeding, theft, different things that they wanted to report to the Guam Police Department, and giving them and arming them with the information of being a part of a neighborhood watch program and really providing a force multiplier approach to the greater community and improving the life pretty much of everybody that's going to be a part of this neighborhood watch program, because we're seeing the effects of the neighborhood watch program from when we started the initiative with the community, from simple gatherings under the mango tree to now, I want to say, flourishing to almost 5,000 members. So we're going to continue to work there. We're going to continue to work with the village, and we're going to be meeting with the Tumuning Neighborhood Watch Program. We're going to be meeting with the Tumuning Mayor next week. So if you are a resident of the Tumuning proper, Tumon, Tutuha, like they probably like to stay there in the respective proper. If you are from Tatuha, please feel free to join us. You know, we're going to be at the Senior Citizen Center next week, Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, before you celebrate. Stop by, you know, and give us a spill of what you want to know or what you would like to see with your respective neighborhood watch group, or how would you, or if you are just seeking information and how to start a four-corner neighborhood watch program within your respective cul-de-sac or your area, we're going to be there to field and answer questions.
Sarge, is there a difference? Well, let's say like a neighborhood watch program in a village like Sinanya, where it's like house, 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 and then you look out in your backyard, you can see 5 other people's backyard. It seems like a little easier to kind of monitor versus a village like Yigo, where it's like spread out, right? And there's a lot of blind spots.
It is. So this is why we're taking it. We're working with the municipal planning members there, the MCP of the respective villages, because we expressed it to Mayor Sanchez that because of the geographic size that Yigo has. So I met with different individuals from, let's say, Talalachans. I met with individuals from Gatanero, met with individuals who reside in Route 15, Route 3. So they were willing to spin up something in their respective sites. And what we're going to do is we're going to break it down into pocket meetings, sort of say, again, in line with COVID restrictions and of course the COVID mitigation process outdoor. We're going to have quarter meetings outdoor as we venture into these pocket areas. So, you know, if you have the luxury of having a full street, a full cul-de-sac, or having the, you know, what we call pillar families that are still within your proper, and there's maybe 4 or 5 homes, the advantage that you have, it's really how you develop your program, whether you want a full street coverage or you simply just want that 4-corner approach. The house in front of me, the house behind me, and the houses to the side. These are the people that I'm going to be bringing into my respective neighborhood watch program. I'll be part of a communication tree that will be providing information about crimes that are happening or crime trends that are occurring on island, and how I can actually help report information of crimes that are occurring. So the challenges are there in organizing. I think the hardest challenge is really organizing or getting started. But once we get started, we get the ball rolling, you see how it creates that snowball effect where people just gravitate towards that, and they want to be a part of that, you know, something that's positive and something that's great for the community.
Sarge, man, I don't know if I got to ask you about this, but so we had Major Anton Uggan on, and there's this policy that the AG and DOC is doing where they're not confining nonviolent offenders. But anyway, the major had said that the director got a call from a couple officers who were, and I've heard from other officers too, that they're going out there, they're, you know, making the arrests or getting the collars on people who are doing things like the burglary, stealing cars. I mean, and I've seen some like big felony charges. So, I mean, I know it's just got to be frustrating for these cops to go out and make the arrests, and then for these criminals, or, you know, potential criminals, some of them are already criminals with histories, to be just flipped back out onto the street. So
yeah, so you know, we understand, you know, this issue has been voiced, the concerns have been voiced to respective channels, but we got to look at the efforts of the Department of Correction. Again, that is a place where you cannot social distance. There's no way you're going to allow the prisoners or the inmates to socially distance outside the confines of the Department of Correction. They have a challenge of really doing their efforts, doing their due diligence in contain in mitigating the spread of COVID-19. We've assisted by really when we have to make an arrest, there's an agreement that if we're going to make an arrest where a confinement is going to be made with the arrest is being effectuated, that we will be administering the COVID-19 test with the training that was provided by Department of Public Health and Social Service, and of course the Guam Memorial Hospital. So our officers are equipped to provide that should we be confining an individual who falls in that criteria. But understanding where the Department of Correction is coming from, we wholeheartedly understand it. We understand the frustration from the officers, but we work closely with the AG's office that the report that was generated that gave us the probable cause to net the arrest, that their case will be presented by the AG so that we can work in getting that conviction. So once DOC eases their restrictions or their policies with COVID, because that is the driving force, and I personally understand that, hey, there's no way that you're going to allow people to come out of the confines of DOC. So that's a gimme. So understanding their restriction, their tough restrictions, and bringing people in that are nonviolent or may not be dangerous to the community. We understand that there are concerns and frustrations from the community, but seeing the full picture of where DOC is coming from, Major Anton is man. When they had an outbreak, that was the scariest part for us in law enforcement. Was really how are they going to, where are we going to place them? Where are we going to place the inmates that are, the detainees, the inmates that have to go to the adjudication process who are serving their adjudication process with their sentencing, where are we going to place them? We don't want to see that predicament. So understanding what DOC has, we are working with them. We reach out to the director, we've reached out, the chief has reached out in ensuring that when we need to confine somebody, that we follow the procedures. Like I mentioned, we do the testings for arrestees that need to be confined so that it helps with the mitigation and of course the contact tracing with the Department of Correction.
So it sounds like you guys are just dealing with it.
They're going to get their day in court. So understanding that the reports will be generated, the optics in itself, we're going to be working with the AG's office once the notice to appear or their time when they have to be arraigned. So it's going to be for all reports, all arrests that were made by the officers who are not, or individuals that weren't confined at the Department of Correction. All reports generated, completed, and closed were forwarded to the Office of the Attorney General. So working with them in getting that conviction or getting, moving forward with the judiciary process for the individual.
Sarge, you mentioned Cinco de Mayo checkpoints, sir. Have we been doing the checkpoints?
We've been doing a lot of speed enforcement. So again, working with we're going to be moving into that. So Memorial Day is coming up. Cinco de Mayo is celebrated. It's not a holiday, but I think Memorial Day falls in May. And what does that kick off pretty much is the summertime festivities that we're accustomed to celebrating, 4th of July, Liberation. But it's always been a trigger to see that something is going to happen once Memorial Day kicks in with the enforcement of DWI sobriety checkpoints, and of course, moving forward to really safeguard the roadways for those who choose to drive while impaired.
Right on.
Not to give too much out just yet.
Yeah. Guys, if you get Bengasa, that's your own fault, basically.
But we do report. We are obligated to report when
of course
DWI checkpoints are going to be posted, so that there's no inconvenience for those who are going to be traversing on the road. I do give a listing. I think I cover all the main thoroughfares on the island. So it really is. We are going to do DUI checkpoints. We're just not going to tell you where and when we are going to be there. So the best bet: designate a responsible sober driver.
There you go. Thank you, Sarge. But you have to designate a responsible sober driver who is also a licensed driver.
Yes.
Because full disclosure, I was my auntie's designated driver back in the day. Oh, boy. I only had a permit.
But your auntie was an adult, right?
She was an adult. Yeah, she was licensed.
Yeah.
Well, you're lucky. I think the statute of limitations
I know.
passed for
I
you.
just want to say I don't want
It's been more than 7 years,
to
right?
be at risk of anything. It's been a little more than 7 years.
And that's the thing, you know. I want to stress that I'm going to be releasing some case closures that the Highway Patrol provided. So
Yeah.
I'm currently working on that. But you know, just to
Like which
remind the
ones, Sarge?
community- I'm sorry.
Like which ones? I'm curious.
From last year.
Okay.
So these are the cases, and so we are up to date. We are still working with I think we're at 5 or 6 fatal crashes.
Yeah.
So far, I know we're in that range, and we're only in the month of April.
Yeah.
So there was this, you know, we're seeing a somewhat of a uptick in fatal crashes, and some of the crashes that we've seen are really, it's cars that's splitting in half, and you know, it's indicative to people can relate that to the fact that speed may be a factor in that, and of course impaired driving. But you know, we want to be able to bring down our fatality rates, and one of the best things in which we can actually do that is designating a responsible sober driver. And you know, Cinco de Mayo is pretty much, you know, a lot of the advertisement is really about consumption of alcohol. So you know, we want to give them the opportunity to celebrate the event, but also just to take care of the community and designate a responsible sober driver.
Sarge, was there any update on that? Remember, you guys were looking for that Sablon kid in connection with that Route 8 fatal crash?
Yes, we were able to meet with him. That case is still ongoing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still ongoing. We were able to meet with him. So he did have a warrant that was issued on behalf. He had an outstanding warrant, but that case in itself, the case jacket is still open, still ongoing. So I'll be reaching out and following up for any closures in that case.
Sarge, last question. Michael Castro, is there any update with that case?
It's still classed as a missing person. We are, you know, we still maintain communication with the family members. We still have our detectives. You know, with the previous homicide cases that, you know, we have been dealing with the, you know, the homicide investigation in Umatic, and of course the recent one in the Swamp Road area. Our detectives, you know, they're preparing because of the fact that reports and case reports have to be submitted to the AG's office. So that is still classed as a missing persons.
Okay.
I do know once we finalize all those cases with the previous homicide cases, we will go back and continue the missing persons investigation.
Right on. Well, thank you, Sarge, for your time this morning. And again, the
Absolutely.
road
Thank you for the
closure,
opportunity, man.
of course. Is that going to be for a few hours, Sarge? Do you expect?
I'm looking to see if there's any report, but I don't see any lifting of the roads. So I'll provide information that's available to me.
Thank you, Sarge.
Absolutely. Stay
That's
safe.
that.
God bless.
Right on. Got it. Okay. Good morning. We're going to take a quick break here, guys, and we're going to show you your lunch.